G'day, g'day, g'day. It's Monday, Easter Monday, and we reflect on Easter Sunday. Wow, 2 days with Easter in them, but are they the same day or just similar? Well, we're going to reflect on yesterday and we'll look at our intentions of the day. What is the purpose? What are we trying to clarify today based on what we shared freely yesterday? Well, what I came to realize is I failed English at school because I couldn't read and write. But what I've learnt as I reflect on my language is I don't speak English because I'm not English. I'm Australian. I speak Aussie. I talk Aussie. I want to be more Aussie. That's why people used to come to our country, to be more Aussie. And I speak to people every day about it and they laugh and they find it hysterical. If you want to know more, hang around. See you soon. G'day.
Do you feel like there's never enough time in the day? Are you struggling to switch off from work, the internet, and social media? It's time to reconnect with family, friends, colleagues, and most importantly, yourself. Join the Be More Social Daily Challenge. Just 10 minutes a day to recharge, gain more energy, and enjoy what matters most. Let's begin.
Clarify purpose. Okay, what does that mean? I was talking about be more Aussie. How is that clarifying purpose? Why? Well, you notice I start and finish with g'day. It's Aussie slang for good day. Where you're from, you might say good morning, or prego, or ni hao, or mahalo, or kia ora, or buongiorno, and there's a whole lot of other languages. But for some reason, English is our language. But I don't speak English, I speak Australian. So why am I so happy about this? Because it makes so much sense why I may have failed English. Because the English colonized us and they separate us from the Indigenous and the Aussies. But they weren't Aussies. They were English, they were criminals, and they weren't free until they came here. Some of them, they were still chained, but they found freedom on the sunny beaches, on the beautiful countryside, and the sun that always shines. That to me is freedom. So how do we be more social? We do it in person. I do it on the beach where I'm free to roam up and down the promenade. Well, that's debatable because Pip's off lead, but that's a discussion for another day. I'm happy to have it, but I find a lot of politicians, they prefer to debate. And funnily enough, they call it masturbating. Oh, the election's coming up. There's going to be this big debate. Yeah, well, it's masturbating. Let's call it for what it is. See, I love the English language because you can play with it. You can fool around with it. So I can sit here and I'm transcribing this with AI. And I can say live and live, and you will pick up the differences because you're listening and seeing me say it differently. My body language. I'm saying live and live. Two different words, but this AI model down here, the voice memo, it's going to say the exact same word because it's spelt the same. So how do we know the difference? Well, when you're reading your book, you're reading the words and they're coming off the page. They're starting to create your imagination. They're explaining why you're seeing what you're seeing. And then you develop how you're going to use those images to create that story. What's the story? Well, that's your story because it's your perspective, it's your imagination, it's your purpose. You just clarify it. Now, some of us, we don't know how to explain our dreams. Well, that's a good thing. It means you're sleeping better from a scientific perspective. Because if you wake up remembering your dreams, you probably interrupted a REM cycle. Did you know that? That's cultivating awareness. So let's look at the habits of tomorrow and see how we can redefine our purpose today. So my habit, I go for a walk each day. I meet new people, I run into people I know, and I reconnect and connect on all these different languages. Yes, languages. I meet Chinese, Spanish, French, Italian. They all come to the Gold Coast. Why? Because they want to learn Aussie. We say, no. there's too many different slang terms here. You need to learn English. No, these countries, they know how to use language. Look at China. They've got what, hundreds and hundreds of dialects, and that's quite confusing. But then you look at the French, they're not well liked, are they? But they seem to have a category for masculine and feminine furniture. I wonder if transgenderism's an issue over there. I don't know. Haven't been to France because I've got a vibe. Where do I get that vibe from? Aussies and people around the world. And I tend to mirror. I mirror other people. That's my maximizer. I tune into body language and tone. And yeah, I listen to the words, but quite often there's a disconnect because some are saying live and some are saying, I don't want to live. Does that make sense? It does to me. So I like playing with words and I like having fun and I like making fun of life and people, not in a derogatory way, because I like fun. Fun to me makes me smile and laugh. I love comedians, all senses of humor. Some may not resonate with me, but that's okay because some people find that funny. That's okay. We've got different perspectives. Why do we stop telling people or start telling people, you can't say that? Yes, I can. I have a voice. There are some people that don't have a voice, but they have arms and legs, or they have facial features. They can speak through body language because body language is a language. And guess what? Every human has it. So we all talk that language. And I talk multiple languages. I talk in strengths and core needs and beliefs and morals and values. They're a different language to a lot of Australians. They're a different language to everyone all around the world. But when you learn to speak these languages, you can learn any language in the world. How do I do that? It's called Google Translator. Really simple tool. But I was literally on the beach this morning talking to a Japanese couple that wanted to learn English but didn't know how. Ni hao. Japanese, not Chinese. Yeah, I think ni hao is Chinese. Not 100% sure because I don't speak Chinese. Hang on, I'll get a translator out. But someone can do that for me. That's cool. All right, so I want to talk about 3 people I ran into today. 2 of them I've known before, actually all 4 of them I've known before, but different relationships, different connections, and this is why I want to explain it. So first one, Muzz was his name. I politely suggest at the end of it, maybe I'm not best at remembering names, but I've got to connect it to a person that I've met. So there was a Muzzer in my life earlier on, and there was a disconnect. He was very attracted to my sister, which I felt uncomfortable with, and he stole my brand new Mongoose BMX bike, and he was meant to be my friend. And he came back into my life about 10 years ago. 10 years is very significant. And I sensed pain. He drove up from God knows where, and he turned up, went and caught up with him, had a beer. His wife was there and his kid was there. And I sat there and watched the way they were all treating each other, and it spoke volumes to me. And he asked me to help him get something. Not legal. And I've got connections everywhere. Doesn't mean I have to do it, but hey, if that's what you feel you want to fulfill your needs, I'll help. But guess what? I use strengths and morals and beliefs, and we've got to walk to get there. So what do? We talk, we socialize. And my intention is to see if he still wants to make that choice at the end. I hope not. But hey, that's hope. We can only hope. But what we do and what we are actually being, when we're being more social, is so much more powerful. So a little bit of a story there. Then I ran into Shane again. Shane's an old bloke. I say old bloke, but I'm getting close to that age as well. He's got a little dog. He walks his dog on the same path that I do, off lead, and we have a good chat about the community and how people don't understand language like we understand language, and he probably doesn't understand language the way I understand language, but we were speaking the same language today. That was really powerful, and I connected his name Shane because I had a great mate called Shane, and yeah, he's made judgments of me and he's made comments that I know exactly where they've come from, and I believe he thought he was protecting someone. It's just he was doing damage to me along the way. He probably didn't realise. And there's actually a hotel block that I believe is very closely named after him. And I think he's got a unit, or his wife has a unit in that building, or it's next door. So he'll know who I'm talking about. Some other close mates of his and ours will. So yeah, I understand, mate. You said what you said. You probably can't even remember you said it, but I remember these things, which is pretty powerful. Then we've got Len and Kez. Now this is an interesting couple. So Leonardo, he called me. This is the guy who suggested I go to the bowling club to meet Dawn at sunset. Connected there. It's really funny. Anyway, and Kez used to be my best mate's wife, and then they split up. My mate went disappearing, found another wife, so I was 2IC at his wedding. So his best man was his brother, and I love that because family comes first. But hey, I was the one next to him in the first marriage, and the second one, I didn't even get invited. So go figure with that one. Yeah, I used to call him a clown after the McDonald's character, Ronald McDonald. That's right. So you know who I'm talking about, or maybe you don't. And then we've got Kez, who, Nick and I were going through a rough time about 10 years ago, sort of what she went through 20 odd years ago. And I was there by her side the first time around, and she decided that it was more important to be on the side of Nick and shot me out. Or maybe I did earlier because I was in pain, but men don't know how to talk about feelings. So I was a bit stuck back then, but now I can. So that's cool. But anyway, back to Len and Kez. So normally I see Len on the walk, and Kez is out there doing her yoga or whatever this thing is with her balance and chi and it's great to watch. I love it. Anyway, if I get to the end of my walk and I haven't seen one or both of them, they're at this little cafe. And what I saw, very interestingly, is normally they're up looking, shining. And at this time, the moment I walked in, Len turned his back to me and sat down. I had to pause for a second. I stood there waiting to see if they'd look up. It wasn't about me. I could just sense there was something going on here. And Kez took a sip of water, and it was all but empty. So it said to me, she'd been drinking a bit of water there, and he's trying to protect this other woman they were sitting with. And I thought, this could be a deep and meaningful conversation. And Kez was facing towards me, and I just waited to catch her eye, gave her a little smile, gave her a wink, and I kept going. I hope they respect that. I could be way off base. It might have just been a light-hearted conversation, but hey, if I'd intruded, what could that have done? Could that have broken trust if there was a relator in that circle? And I just intruded, a big 6'4", dark-skinned man. Yeah, so much to talk about purpose there and why we do what we do when we be more social. We've got 2 of these and only 1 of these. We should spend a bit more time listening in silence, because up here, the conversation keeps going. So we need to help people, especially men and women and anyone else, that it's time to listen, it's time to stand up and believe in what you believe in. Whether you believe in someone else's cause, or whether you believe in ours, or you believe in your cause. That's your purpose. That's your reason. That's your why. Be more social. Simply say g'day.
Thanks for listening as we take on the Be More Social challenge. Join Danny Crouch tomorrow as he shares his journey, and we hope you'll join in too. Drop a comment below. Tell us how it's going, ask questions, and share your insights. Find more details in the description or at chooseyourchapter.com.au. Let's make time, boost energy, and aim to be more social today.